Welcome back to my little channel. Today I want to talk about something that probably is best described as blame culture. We're going to talk about something that seems to affect 1/3 of the women in the world. How many men in the world are affected? Well, I'm going to say roughly the same, but somehow that doesn't matter much. The thing with this blame culture that we've created in the West is that we don't really recognize anything happening unless there is some virtue signaling involved. And hey, if women are the victim, then yeah, you're going to score a lot of points. If men are the victim, meh, who cares? I mean, that's not interesting. And this is what basically happens in this little clip. I hope you'll enjoy my response to it. And criticism, as always, I will tell it up front, is more than welcome. 1 in 3 women do not have access to toilets and are forced to go out into the open and do their thing. I'm wondering who's forcing them. Is it nature? Because if nature forces them, then I don't really see what we can do. But the men do have toilets themselves, but women are simply not allowed in. Is that it? No, that's not it either. The thing is, you're talking about cultures that are poor, where not everyone has a toilet. I guess that's weird to think of because everyone in the West has indoor plumbing. Yeah, but we're not talking about the West though, are we? We're talking about Africa, we're talking about the Middle East. And yes, plenty of people there have indoor plumbing as well, but not everyone. So those 1 in 3 women you talk about, they probably have a partner, and they probably have kids, and they don't get to use a toilet either. Why aren't those important? Why can't you say 1 in 3 people doesn't have access to the toilet? But yeah, as I said, males, who cares? But women, now there is something to work for. So, to raise awareness for people having to go outside to do their business, you are creating see-through porta potties that prove that people can't see you, but you can see them, and therefore you will feel bad. Now, I'm not quite sure how much money goes into this little stunt, but if you really want to help these people outside in the Middle East or in Africa or in Asia or wherever they are that don't have outhouses, wouldn't it be better to try and make stuff for them instead of making a see-through toilet, which looks pretty luxurious to me? But then again, I never had a see-through toilet.
It's shocking, it's horrible, and it's really quite violating.
And where I didn't understand the beginning and the concept of this problem, this is where I really lost, well, respect or perception, or what the fuck are they on about? You're sitting in a see-through toilet so you can see outside, but no one can see inside. How are you violating them? Because they're not violating you, they can't even see you.
Quite exposed, quite daunting.
I guess I'm really daft because I don't get it. You can see others, they cannot see you. But because you can see others, you are feeling exposed. There must be some standard in doublethink that I simply cannot reach. I'm sorry. And look at the face of this woman. I mean, she's looking as if she saw the end of the world and she steps out in some kind of Armageddon world.
1 in 3 women not having a toilet is absolutely a terrible statistic.
Yeah, never mind that anyone else in that direct vicinity probably has the same problem. But if they're not women, they don't count.
I was shocked that all women don't have that.
Not all children, not all men, not all women. Fair enough. So Why are we only talking about women on this one?
1 in 3 women feels that intimidation every day. 1 in 3 women is risking sexual violence. That's what matters. It's that feeling.
And there you have it. 1 in 3 women risk this. Oh, this terrible thing. They risk sexual violence because they need to poo outside. And that's the whole thing. Never mind that violence is something mostly done to men. Men die more of violence than women do. But yeah, no, sexual violence is worse than physical violence, apparently. Don't get me wrong, I'm not even going to deny the fact that sexual violence is terrible, which, by the way, happens to men as well. But no, women are the problem here, because it feels terrible if something like this would happen to a woman. This is, by the way, why we live in a gynocentric society. Yes, things do feel terrible when they happen to women. So are we then okay to ignore it when it happens to men? Because that kind of raises a double standard I personally have a problem with.
It's scary, really scary.
Yeah, it is scary, to be honest, and it's a terrible thing if we start creating victimhoods and basically leaving out most victims. Well, maybe not most victims, but surely half of them. But I guess this is also one of the reasons why we see so much suicide amongst men, because they have a feeling that their plight isn't taken serious. And let's be honest, if it's terrible for women to go to the toilet out in the open, then how come it's not for men?
Women need that privacy because every woman deserves the right to feel safe.
Again, women need their privacy. Women need to feel safe. How come this is only a women's issue? Don't men need to feel safe? Don't men need their privacy? I don't get this. Why are you making this gendered?
Toilet is just a basic need that we take for granted. It goes to the heart of who we are as human beings, I think. That sense of dignity and privacy.
And here lies the cultural difference. Because yes, in Western culture we've come across throughout the years that we like to have our privacy when we go to the toilet. And it is considered undignified to be forced, to be watched whilst going to the toilet. But that's our culture. I mean, are we here going to tell people in other cultures that they have to live our way of life because otherwise they are undignified? Now, don't get me wrong. I want to help people that need our help. And there are plenty of reasons why having toilets is a good thing. Hygiene, for one. Well, that's probably the most important one. But you're not talking about hygiene. You're talking about dignity. You're talking about privacy. These might not be as important as you would like them to be. I'm pretty sure that if we go to whatever little shack in the middle of nowhere and we tell them, hey, you know what? Here you have a toilet, you can have some privacy. Or here you have a toilet, you might not get sick as fast. The second one is the selling point, not the first one. You entitled ingrate. Because this is the terrible thing. Look at how good we have it. Look at how terrible they have it. They need privacy. No, they don't need privacy. Not a single man or boy amongst the women displayed on those nice blue screens. By the way, did you notice that none of them seem to come from a Western country? I'm just going to put it like that. I'm not going to say anything other than they're probably not living in the West. And you know what? I am all in favor of trying to increase the, how do you call it, standard of life for people who are not in the Western world. But who are we to tell them what they must and must not have? No, you need privacy when you go to the toilet. Why? According to whom? That we like it like that, that we have grown accustomed to it. Yeah, sure. But who says that this is an issue they're facing? Now, hygiene, as I said earlier, would be a good reason to want to change their way of, well, having to do the do, I guess. But you're not talking about hygiene. And you're not talking about people living in these terrible conditions. No. You're talking about women in these terrible conditions. Because, well, fuck men. I mean, are you a boy child? Yeah, should have had a vagina, mate. Had you had a vagina, hey, people are well interested in your well-being and health. But you got a dick? Yeah, fuck you. Well, something like that, I guess. It doesn't make sense. Either we help people because we want to help them, or we do not help people because we don't care. Either is good. But to say, okay, we're going to help women, but fuck men, as I said earlier, this is one of the main reasons why men are more likely to commit suicide. But funny enough, this is only in the Western world, because in the Middle East and in Africa and, well, in poorer cultures on average, suicide, even though still mostly a male thing, is far less than it is in the West. I wonder why that is. Could it be because the West has become so gynocentric that men simply do not count anymore? Gives you something to think about, doesn't it? Anyway, let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe if you feel so inclined. And criticism, as always, is more than welcome. See you all next time.